everybody, this is Vanessa Gertman from AlpusCast. Welcome back to the Fireplace series. In the last video, we added the ability to delete projects. In this video, we are going to restrict access to projects so that you can only see projects you own. Let's look at what our current state of our application is right now. So right now I'm running Fireplace and you can see I'm seeing 3 projects. This third project isn't my project. It belongs to a different user, so it doesn't make sense for me to see it. So that's what we're going to take care of today. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is add a property to the user class that gets all the projects owned by that user. So it's going to be a val. I'm going to call it projects. And it's going to be a property like we said, so we're going to call get. And we're going to say projects.findList. where it.owner ID is equal to ID. All right, that's what we want there. Now we need to actually use this in our controller. Like I mentioned, we're going to be doing this for displaying the projects, which is in our index function. So let's get the user first. So I'm going to say the user. I'll name it that. And I should be able to get that from the call. So I'm going to say call.user. And now instead of projects.findAll, we're going to use our new function. So user.projects. Now if you look here, I don't actually have user projects. Well, why is that? It's because we added projects to our user object. And this type is authenticable instead of user. So let's use the Kotlin as operator to just quickly cast that. So if we say it's an as user, which is our Fireplace entity user class, now I should be able to say dot projects. Okay, awesome. And this would work fine, but actually Alpus has a helper function, so we don't have to do this cast ourselves. So let's use that instead. So to get that, you just do call.caller, and it's a generic function where you pass in the type we expect back, and in our case, it's user, Fireplace entity users. So this is still not read, so that worked as well. Let's run this and see if we've restricted project access. If I refresh this now, you can see we have only 2 projects and they're both mine. So that worked. Before we finish this video, there's one other thing I want to quickly go over. So I'm gonna stop this. And so you see in user, we're using this projects.findList. Well, sometimes you might want to actually know what the underlying query is when you use some of these functions. So I'm going to show you how to log the Ozone Ktorm queries that are being run behind the scenes of this call. There are a few reasons why you might want to do this. Maybe you want to get more exposure to complicated SQL queries, or maybe you want to verify that you haven't made a small mistake and chosen a query version that's much more costly than a similar query that would have given you the same result. So luckily, Alpus and Ktorm make this really easy to do. We just need to open the configuration file for the log, which is app_log config. And we just need to add a new line down here for Ktorm. So it's going to be logger, the name, the log level, which in our case is going to be debug. And that's it. Now we need to just rerun our app. And we'll refresh this to trigger the call. Let's check out our output to see if those queries are being logged. And there we go, it's right here. So you can see there's a SQL select projects.id as projects ID. And if we go all the way to the end of this, you'll see there's this part where it's saying where projects.owner ID equals. So that is the actual query that's running. And if you were to copy this query and paste it into SQL Pro, it would work as well. So if you go to the, if you use the queries tab on SQL Pro, paste that in, there's a question mark here, but I happen to know that my user ID is 2. So I'm going to say basically the project's owner ID is 2, run that, and we just see those first 2 projects. If I change this to 4, which is the other ID I have in my database, and run this, this is that other one that's not my project. So there we go. Now we're logging queries, which is great for debugging. And that's going to do it for this video today. In our next video, we're going to be adding a validation guard for creating projects. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to catch you in the next video.